Hey guys, what's going on? So today I have an album review for Viral Load with Practitioners of Perversion. So if you're not familiar with Viral Load, rural death metal band from Texas, eventually became a one-man project with Sean Whitaker, but on the first two albums, including this one, which is their sophomore, it was a full band but with programmed drums. So this is Viral Load's sophomore album, as I said. It was originally came out in 2000. It was originally put out through TXDM Underground, I want to say, but this is a new cassette reissue put up by Dissonant Tapes, really high quality tape as well. Created rural death metal, and your like cassettes. Dissonant Tapes is a really good label right now, putting out a lot of cool, very high quality reissues like this one. So, anyways, I guess I'll show off a little bit of the tape first. Really awesome album cover from John Zig, some of his best work in the early 2000s. I really like the first two Viral Load album covers, the redone version of their debut, Brutalized Beyond Belief, and then this. Both awesome album covers. It really look like how the music sounds, honestly. Cool looking tape. And then, so the lineup, you've got Donnie Hamilton on vocals, who in my opinion is kind of an underrated vocalist. I'll talk about that. Sean Whitaker on guitars, backup vocals, and drum programming, and Joe McGuire on bass. Looks like you just got all the lyrics right here. But yeah, nice reissue. Very thick J card. So anyways, if you've listened to the first Viral Load album, then you should be familiar with how Viral Load mixes a lot of different, on that album at least, Viral Load mixed a lot of different elements that made something very unique without sounding gimmicky or like weird. It was weird. Viral Load is very weird sounding, but Brutalized Beyond Belief, they mixed a lot of different elements and ended up making it work. And on this album, they cut out some of those elements. This one's a lot less black metal-y than the first album is, and it's also a lot less punky in some parts. It's not quite as catchy or slammy, or it's not even really as groove-laden or hooky as the first album. This one's a little bit faster, a little more technical, and also a little bit more melodic. It expands on some of the elements of the first album in a lot of ways, and it's definitely a different animal of an album than the first one, but it still has that same like really hostile, really psychotic sort of energy that the first Viral Load album had. So anyways, track by track, Cockroach Cum Rag is a pretty good album opener. I don't think it's the best song on here, but it's a faster one. Really cool, but not the most hook-laden one. It's got some catchy vocal parts. Raked with a Rake is one of the strongest songs on here. I'd say like all the best songs on here are probably Raked with a Rake, Feasting on Ovaries, Gargling Glass, Handle Enema, Awakened Flames, the title track, and then Blinded by Semen. So really, there's only like two songs on here that are like a little bit weaker. Cockroach Cum Rag and Sealed in Canoptic Jars, and even then, both of those songs are still really good. There's not a single bad track on here, honestly. But yeah, I'd say my favorite is probably either Handle Enema or Blinded by Semen. But anyways, track 3, Feasting on Ovaries, really starts to show off Sean Whitaker's lead work. Blinded by Semen also. Both of those songs have really awesome like melodic guitar solos, which Sean Whitaker is a really underrated lead player with Viral Load. He doesn't really do like those like shreddy like Kerry King, Trey Azagthoth sort of like solos that you should be accustomed to hearing in death metal. He takes a more melodic, really adventurous sounding sort of approach, which I think is really refreshing, not only for a death metal guitarist, but a brutal death metal guitarist. Fucking really pretty guitar solos, honestly, especially on Blinded by Semen. Gargling Glass has some really cool highs. Donnie Hamilton just had these really psychotic, like cracked out sounding, like fucking high pitched, like shrieky sounding highs. If you watch live videos, they almost sound a little black metal-y, but on the albums they're a little bit more. There's a little more of a restraint on his highs on the albums, but on here, there's even a part at the end of Gargling Glass where like his voice kind of cracks, and during a high it sounds kind of cool in a way. Handle Enema is probably the grooviest song on here. It has a really fucking just super catchy riff at the beginning of the song. Yeah, that one rules. Awakened in Flames, classic Viral Load song. Really cool intro riff with the pinch harmonics. Really memorable song. The title track, or it's not really a title track, but Practitioners of the Perverse is a really fucking cool song. It's a really short, super fast, like kind of blasty, like grindy sort of song. And it comes about as quick as it goes, but it's super fucking energetic and just has this sense of urgency to it. It's just a really fucking energetic song. And then honestly, Blinded by Semen might be the best song on the album, and that's an instrumental. In my opinion, Blinded by Semen is probably the best brutal death metal instrumental probably ever. I can't think of many others that can compete. Blighted by Semen is a very melodic, really pretty sounding sort of instrumental. It has some like kind of shreddy parts to it. Sean Whitaker really shows off his guitar abilities, both in a shreddy sort of way with his technical abilities and also in a melodic songwriting sort of way. There's a really pretty guitar solo in that song. There's also a really fucking funny sample at the beginning of Blinded by Semen that has this like Daffy or Donald Duck kind of voice. I don't really know how to explain it. I'll just put a little bit of it here for you.
Oh yeah, play with my balls, play with my balls. Oh, that feels so good.
But yeah, that shit's really funny. I think that's the only sample on the album. Viral Load is usually a little lighter with samples. There are a few more on Brutalized Beyond Belief, but that's the only one on here. And then Sealed in Canopic Jars is still a pretty good song, but it's not the greatest. So anyways, let's talk about the production. I think the production on here, it's very saturated and like juicy sounding, which I could see why some people wouldn't like. But for this kind of brutal death metal, especially with the programmed drums, it works really well. The guitar tone is just super electrifying sounding and really just juicy and chuggy, very scooped. The bass is kind of inaudible, to be honest. Vocals are pretty well mixed. Donnie Hamilton's vocals got a little bit more guttural with this one. They're not like full on like Devourment, like Discord type of gutturals where they're like super wet and gurgly. But he was definitely trying to go lower. They kind of remind me a little bit of Joe Kajcek from Broken Hope on this album, whereas on the first album they were still low, but they were a little bit more mid. His highs have gotten a little better on here, like I said. They're a little bit less throaty sounding, but they still have that really like psychotic kind of crazy energy to them. But yeah, the drum programming, the drums sound a little bit less fake on here as opposed to Brutalized Beyond Belief. Especially there's a lot less closed hi-hat on here, which I think the closed hi-hat on Brutalized Beyond Belief sounded a lot almost like a hip-hop drum machine, which I love, but there's none of that on here. The drums are a little bit more real sounding. They're still fake, obviously, but what I mean is they're a little bit less fake sounding than on the first album. I think that Brutalized Beyond Belief is a better album, and I like that one more because that one just has better songwriting in my opinion, because it's more, that one's a little more catchy. There's a little bit more diversity between songs, but that's not to any detriment of this album. This album, like I said, it's a little different, and I think they definitely involved the musicians on here, the vocals, the drum programming, and of course Sean Whitaker's guitar work is probably the best part of this album. Their songwriting got a little bit more complicated. The song structures on here, they aren't quite maze-like, but they're pretty damn close. I mean, there's especially in songs like Gargling Glass, there's a lot of parts where they'll like pause for a second and then go into a whole nother section. Not a lot typically repeats in these songs, and when it does, it's done tastefully. There's no like pop song structure, verse, chorus, solo type shit. And the guitar solos are worked very thought-provokingly into the songs. Like Feasting on Ovaries, the guitar solo in there is really like weaved really well into the song. The way it comes in, there's a really cool melodic part behind it on the rhythm. But yeah, really awesome guitar work on this album. Very melodic, and then also very groovy when there's chugs. Just this album can make you dance. It's not quite as like hyper groovy as the first album, but there's still some groovy moments on here. Like I already said, Handle Enema, Gargling Glass is pretty groovy in some parts. Raked with a Rake. Overall, I think I would give this album honestly a 9 out of 10. There's nothing really wrong with this album I can say. Every song on here is great. I think it's a pretty underrated album. Very energetic. You can just tell there's a lot of passion in the music. They definitely matured a little bit of songwriters on here. Great guitar work. Vocals improved a lot. Overall, I think I'd give this one a 9 out of 10. Be an awesome album. So Viral Load with Practitioners of Perversion. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.